Hi everyone, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Fund Manager Friday, our last episode of the year, in fact. Let's wait for a few people to join. Okay, okay, guys. Hi everyone, I'm Anchal Pathak, and for once, Deepika Astana is joining me as a guest today. So, Deepika, how does it feel to
Yes.
be on the other side?
I will let you know at the end of this episode. But it's nice. I think with you on the other side, I think we're definitely going to have a very interesting conversation. So yes, looking forward to that.
Sure, definitely. I can't wait for it. And don't worry, we'll definitely go easy on you. And guys, जैसे कि आपने हमारा topic देखा होगा, you must have seen the topic. We are going to recap all the learnings that we got this past year from Fund Manager Friday because the main why we launched the show was so that we could educate people, and we are hoping that our viewers are on their way to becoming more proficient investors after watching this show. Deepika and all her wonderful guests talk about investing and the market outlook in general. So Deepika, शुरू करते हैं. 2021 is almost over, and we have gotten so many amazing guests on board.
Right.
So let's start with Swarup Mohanty. He is the CEO of Mira Asset Investment Managers. You described him as the market man because he is someone who has been
Yes.
involved in the markets since decades. So, what were
Right.
our main learnings from him?
Right. So, Ajal, just before we get into what Swaroop and some of our other guests said, I also just wanted to highlight कि actually over the last since we started Fund Manager Fridays, and all of our audiences will also agree, our learnings have been immense. And सारे ही हमारे जो guests
Definitely.
आए हैं, they have contributed some very significant inputs, insights, and through their experiences. बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला है बट एज 31st December जैसे होता है we try to sum up the entire year, which is always difficult. So here, I think even though we learned a lot, today we're just going to be talking about some of the really, really big things which I personally feel can really add value to all of our viewers, and because it's added a lot of value to me as well from an investment journey perspective. So that is that. And then now moving on to what Swaroop has, like you said, he is a market man. He's been in the markets for more than 20 years. And जब हमारा conversation भी शुरू हुआ था, he started with कि भाई in the early 1990s with the Harshad Mehta scam, kya hua and what all
Right.
of these some of the bigger events in the last 2 and 3 decades actually what they have taught him. And the things that he highlighted were basically ki from the scams he learned that the frameworks, rules, and regulations need to be followed. We are in a business where money management is a part of our business, and in such a business, the foremost thing is rules and regulations. So market में होना चाहिए, ecosystem में rules and regulations होना चाहिए, and every player in the ecosystem must follow it. From there on, he also spoke about asset allocation, which honestly was a common theme across many of our conversations. And while so asset allocation basically means spreading your investment portfolio investments across different assets so that कि any sharp movement किसी एक asset class में आपको impact नहीं करे. But एक चीज स्वरूप brought out which is slightly unique was he said कि you should not follow a straight line path to financial planning and asset allocation but a glide path. तो what he basically meant here was कि जो आपका एसेट एलोकेशन एट द एज ऑफ लेट्स से 25 या 30 होता है, वो एसेट एलोकेशन एट द एज ऑफ 50 शायद अप्रोप्रिएट रहे ना. तो
Hmm.
over a period of time, you have to keep gliding or changing your asset allocation or rebalancing in response to changes in your personal circumstances and also in response to market developments, right? So that was something very unique that he brought up. Of course, again, another common theme was SIPs, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in the subsequent, like in the next 15-20 minutes. But SIP is a great investment vehicle. Do not stop your SIPs in falling markets. That was like one of the biggest things that he repeatedly said कि भाई markets ऊपर जाते हैं नीचे जाते हैं आप एसआईपी अपना मत रोकिए, स्पेशली बिकॉज़ जब मार्केट्स नीचे जाते हैं और आप एसआईपी कंटिन्यू करें, तो यू बेनिफिट फ्रॉम रूपी कॉस्ट एवरेजिंग। तो डेफिनिटली मार्केट्स नीचे हैं, आप एसआईपी मत रोकिए। एंड ही समड अप द एपिसोड ब्यूटीफुली व्हेन ही सेड कि बिफोर यू स्टार्ट योर इन्वेस्टिंग जर्नी, आस्क योरसेल्फ व्हाई आर यू इन्वेस्टिंग? आप इन्वेस्ट क्यों कर रहे हैं? और जैसे ही आपको इसका जवाब मिल जाए, वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग, यू कैन इजीली फिगर आउट वेयर टू इन्वेस्ट। सो दैट वाज ब्यूटीफुल फॉर मी, एंड आई रिमेंबर इवन इन द कन्वर्सेशन आई टोल्ड हिम कि जो आप बोल रहे हैं, दैट व्हाई इन्वेस्टिंग में तो बहुत ही जरूरी है वो, बट आई थिंक लाइफ में ऑल्सो व्हाई यू आर डूइंग समथिंग, if you're able to understand that, then I think journey thereafter becomes relatively
Easier,
easier.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these were, I
Great
think,
words
my
too.
top takeaways from that.
Definitely, definitely great words to stand by. You mentioned SIPs, but we'll come to them in a bit. Before that, let's talk about what Radhika Gupta had to say. She's the MD and CEO of Edelweiss AMC. She spoke about balanced advantage funds. That was a very interesting episode. So, can you tell us something
Oh
about
yes.
that?
Oh yes. So so like I said, abhi asset allocation is something which has been a common theme among through most of our conversations. And also, agar aap like any investment literature you pick up, कुछ भी आप देखो ना, asset allocation is a very important thing. But क्या होता है that as a retail investor, आप हमारे आपके सोचो, we don't always know कि कहाँ invest करें, कितना debt में जाए, कितना equity में जाए, and more importantly, when do we move from debt to equity? Right, we don't know as retail investors, and that is where a balanced advantage fund becomes such an easy way to get your asset allocation right. So basically what Radhika explained to us in a lot of detail was what balanced advantage funds are. They invest in debt and equity. Their exposure to any one asset class can vary anything between 20 to 90%. When the markets go up, there are automatic triggers which increase the allocation to equity so that you are able to benefit from the market up moves. And when the markets go down, then the fund automatically starts moving exposure to debt so that the downside gets limited. ऐसे नहीं कि मार्केट अगर 10% गिर गया तो आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट भी उतना गिर जाएगा, आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट उतना नहीं गिरेगा. So that way, it's a great way to keep moving between debt and equity and actually taking advantage of both the asset classes. So that was about BAF. But another very interesting thing that she brought up, Achal, was this whole thing around emotion. ठीक है, अब आपको पता है, हमको पता है कि अरे एसआईपी नहीं रोकना चाहिए, मार्केट गिर रहा है, ये we must stay put. But it's not easy, right? When you see your
Mhm.
portfolio in red and the market is falling, it's not easy to stay put. Who stays put, right? And yeah, emotions, human emotions and biases kind of come in the way of making the best decisions. But if you're investing in a BAF, the emotion is kind of removed from the equation because like I had mentioned Abhi, and she'd spoken to us in detail that when we are looking for a BAF investment, one thing that we must clearly look for is ki how does the fund manager switch from the two between the two asset classes, right? So there are some funds which have a very non-discretionary way of doing it. There's a formula base and it captures all of the market movements. तो वहाँ पे human bias बिल्कुल हट जाता है. The formula could be anything, P हो सकता है, market momentum, or could be also a fund का proprietary in nature. तो these are a good way, I mean these are good BAFs to look at. जहाँ पे फंड मैनेजर बायस भी काफी रहता है, तो फिर देन हमारा बायस इज अ लिटिल बिट मोर, बट आई थिंक मे बी द फुल बेनिफिट्स ऑफ अ BAF might not accrue to those funds. So that is one thing which I found very interesting while choosing a BAF. And one another thing which was very a big takeaway from me was that, see, a lot of investors and a lot of our viewers also are young millennials, नई शुरू करा है investment journey, and equities is in general considered to be कि अरे बहुत high risk kind of investment है, right? So this is a great way, a BAF is a great way of actually entering into equities. It's like,
Right.
in her terminology, she said it's like the shallow end of the pool, and it lets you get your feet wet in equities. So I think that is, I would like to end this with that because that kind of conveys the entire thing.
Yeah, that's a great way to sum it up. I mean, you're just trying to see what's out there and figure out whether it's right for you or not, and it could be just a gateway to bigger things.
Absolutely.
So Right. So now, like I mentioned, we are going to talk about SIPs. So this is the time to do that.
Yes.
Let's get down to the most let's get down to the most basic question that is on everyone's mind, and that is, how do we create wealth? And I think you got
Mm,
quite a few answers in your interview with Aditi Kothari from DSP
yes.
Investment Managers Private Limited. When she came on the show, what were your learnings from that particular show?
Okay, so that show honestly was amazing because a lot of what she said, maybe some of it I already knew, but जैसे उन्होंने समझाया in very simple ways, I've thought कि anybody now can really understand investments and this whole wealth journey. One thing that she had, so she gave us about, I think, 4 to 5 key steps which will take you on on your wealth creation journey. One was start early. कि भाई आप जितनी जल्दी अपना इन्वेस्टमेंट जर्नी शुरू कर सकते हैं आप जरूर शुरू करिए बिकॉज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट बेनिफिट्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग इज कंपाउंडिंग and
Right.
compounding helps you if you stay invested for the long term. So definitely start your investment journey early, and like she said, and I also believe this, ki as soon as you start your earnings journey आप investment journey अपनी शुरू करिए. And this is where SIPs become very valuable because it's such an easy way आप you can start an SIP with as low as 500 rupees. तो
Hmm.
ऐसे नहीं है कि जब आपके पास ज्यादा पैसे हो तभी आप इन्वेस्टमेंट शुरू कर सकते हैं. Even with a small amount of money you can start, and as your income increases you can start increasing your SIP amounts. So on the SIP perspective, another thing which she said was that it's important to automate your SIPs. And again, here the thought process is the same, that we all have biases. We stop our SIPs when markets fall. So आप automate कर देंगे ना, so then that human bias element is completely removed from your
Yeah.
investment decisions. So that was really nice. Then one thing which she introduced this rule of 72. Of course, it's there in common literature also, but उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी तरह ये explain किया. And she said that this rule of 72 is basically to understand how fast your money will double. So if you have an investment which is promising you 6% returns, you just take 72 and you divide it by 6, your expected return. So 72 divided by 6 is 12, which means कि आप अगर 100 रुपीज इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो 12 साल में वो 200 रुपीज होएगा. So this is a great way of for retail investors to get visibility in terms of कब उनका पैसा बढ़ेगा at an assumed rate of return, and accordingly which goals this investment will be able to meet. So
Meet.
that was
Right.
very interesting, and of course she also emphasized on the importance of asset allocation. She also emphasized on the importance of risk profiling, and this was one of the few conversations where we discussed risk profiling in such great detail. And she said कि आपका मन हो सकता है आप 80% equities में invest करो, लेकिन क्या आपका risk tolerance आपको allow करता है? And she gave this great analogy about a 90-year-old man wanting to go skydiving. It's great if he wants to, but can he take that kind of risk? And when you are investing, that again you must take into consideration कि आप कितना risk ले सकते हैं. And here one thing which she highlighted was the importance of also a financial advisor. If you're not confident, if you feel that you need some help, instead of going to well-meaning friends and family members, approach a financial advisor who can help you through your investment journey. आपका asset allocation आपको decide करके बता सकते हैं, आपका risk tolerance, financial goals, they can help you create this plan. And but लेकिन end of the day, वो पहला step लेना, it's your responsibility. So take the
Right.
first step.
Take the plunge.
Yes, take the plunge. Yes. So
Just go for
yeah,
it.
go
Right.
for it. Yeah. That's what 2022 is for you now. Go for it.
Go for it. I hope all our viewers are also as enthusiastic as us at this point of time, just like go for it, financial planning, wealth creation. Okay,
Mhm.
so before we round up the show, I mean, before we end the show, definitely let's round it up with our learnings from Vikas Khemani, founder Carnelian Asset Advisors. What can you tell us about your learnings that you've gained from him?
So honestly, I think it. my learnings echo exactly what we just discussed. Go for it. Because जो विकास ने जो बोला, and he was so clear कि भाई India is a long term structural growth story. ठीक है, आप don't have a short term view, have a long term view. For the last 4 5 years, a strong foundation has been built from an economic perspective, and over the next 5 to 7 years there are lots of strong robust growth drivers in place. So there is nothing, I mean, we are definitely, and in his words, he said, we are definitely looking at a $5 to $7 trillion market cap over the next 7 years, 5 to 7 years.
Yeah,
So his outlook on the market was absolutely positive. He said, "Ki bhai, uh, don't if you're a long-term investor, which you ideally should be, don't sit on the sidelines and wait to enter the market." है ना? And if anything, the last 1 year, 1.5 years has taught us is कि वो if you're waiting for that correction to come, वो आता नहीं है, और जब आता है तब आप डालते नहीं हैं.
right.
तो instead आप you keep select good companies, or go to good investment managers who will guide you properly, and you start your investing journey keeping in mind कि over the next 5 to 7 years India will definitely grow as an economy, and which will reflect in the markets. From a sectoral perspective also, he gave us some very clear views. So he said कि manufacturing now अब India में, pehle it was only about the service economy, right? But over the last 4 to 5 years, the manufacturing side is also, a lot of money is being invested in that. So that side should also see some growth. The IT services sector, he was very bullish on it. He said it's already witnessing super growth. It's creating a lot of jobs. And over a period of time, over the next 5 to 7 years, that's where a lot of opportunity will be seen. He was similarly optimistic about the banking sector as well. एंड दिस इज ऑनेस्टली आंचल, विकास ने तो डेफिनेटली बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से हमें एक्सप्लेन किया था. बट ओवरऑल ऑल्सो इफ यू सी there's a lot of narrative and talk about how अभी कंसोलिडेशन हो गया है. जो 2008 क्राइसिस के एनपीएस वगैरह थे, दे हैव आइदर क्लियर्ड अप, और एटलीस्ट प्रोविजनिंग तो हो ही गया है उस हिसाब से.
Hmm.
तो now going forward, if the economy has to grow, banks will lend money. There will be growth in the banking side also. They will spend the government is going to spend on infrastructure, railways, urban infra, and all of that. And banking will play a very strong role in helping the government meet its targets and
Goals.
goals in terms of
Right.
economic growth. So that is another sector which he highlighted कि भाई IT है, banking है, and manufacturing selectively. Our listeners and audience can definitely consider from a long term perspective. So yahi tha, I mean, my biggest was takeaway was that he said ki bhai, take advantage of the success story of India through long term investments, and keep studying the inherent factors and stay invested. So
Right.
that's what I would like to end this recap with.
Sounds great. And I just feel that we have, just in this recap itself, we've gained so much knowledge. और अगर हमारे viewers को और भी जानना हो investing और markets के बारे में, then definitely हमारी एक पूरी playlist है Fund Manager Fridays की,
Sure.
जो पिछले पूरे साल में दीपिका ने जिन guests को interview किया है, उनके 30 to 40 minutes के shows हैं. So imagine the amount of knowledge that you can gain by watching the entire playlist. So I would request all our viewers to definitely go check it out after this webinar is done. And Deepika, thank you so much for joining us. I know, like, you do this
Pleasure.
every day for every week for us on every Friday, and I can see the amount of definitely effort that it takes for you to do this, and at the same time, the learnings that you gain in return
Yes.
are quite priceless. So I'm quite happy that we did this today. Happy New Year to everyone, to all our viewers, to you too, Deepika. And
Thank you.
one last standard thing before
Anjali.
I go. If you like this video, then do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And Deepika will see you next Friday,
Next
definitely
Friday.
with a new guest. Bye.
Absolutely, absolutely. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year, Achal. And we'll see everybody next Friday then.
Right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.